Spring is one of the most amazing times of the year for flowers. We go through the whole winter and it's almost easy to forget or not quite believe they'll come back, and then suddenly they erupt and there's colour everywhere that you look. There are so many spring flowers to choose from, but if I had to pick just 5, they would be the Pasque flower, Pulsatilla vulgaris. It's a tiny, fluffy, furry flower. It's no bigger than about sort of 10 centimetres maximum. Beautiful, deep purple petals, but sometimes they can be white as well. It's one of the earlier flowers. It flowers around Easter time, April. It's really delicate, really beautiful, and the fluffiness and furriness of the foliage just makes it really special. They prefer full sun, but they can get away with a little bit of shade as well. Really recommend something that you grow that encourages you to get down on the ground and look closely at the garden. I would also pick Magnolias. They are magnificent trees. Blossom's always magical to me anyway, but magnolia blossom forms on bare stems. There are summer flowering magnolias as well, but the spring flowering ones are really, really special. Pink or purple or white, or pink turning to white, these huge, enormous petals form on these bare stems of magnificent trees. They can be small, things like stellata don't get too big, or they can be enormous, sort of 60-foot high trees covered in blossom. You can also eat the petals. They have a really gingery flavour, so that makes them even more interesting. They're just breathtaking. Spring is really synonymous for bulbs in the garden. There are so many amazing bulbs, but I think my favourite is the Allium. There's something about the bawdy, bright, perfectly spherical flower that forms on Alliums that is really brazen and beautiful. I love it. Purple Sensation is a favourite of mine, but I also love Christophii. The Schubertii and those forms are really interesting, but I prefer the more perfectly rounded ones. They're usually purple, sometimes they're white as well. They can be pale purple or really deep purple, and they do prefer a more sunny position. But if they're happy, then they'll reflower each year. Just make sure you let the foliage stay on until it's fully turned brown, then you can pull it out. And they work really nicely either in drifts through in big mass plantings, or as single individual bulbs that come through other herbaceous perennials. They're just really, really spectacular. Snake's head fritillary is another one of those flowers that really gets you down and close and looking at the garden in a level of detail that you don't always do. They tend to grow really beautifully in a meadow-like setting, so in grass. If you have lawn that you let get tall in the spring, then a snake's head fritillary or 2 or 50 will make it even more beautiful. They come in white or purple. The white is a pure white with a hanging, rather big bell-shaped head, and the purple is exactly the same shape, but it has a checkerboard kind of patterning on the petals, and that's the one that I just love so much. They're really beautiful. You don't even see them until this incredible snake's head-like flower appears and bows down to the ground. They're really magnificent. Cherry blossom is the king of spring flowers. In my family, it was always a tradition to go on a blossom hunt around March time and go and see them all coming out, all the different colours, but cherry blossom is just so special. It's really delicate. Most cherry blossom forms on bare stems, although in some years the leaves may be beginning to come out when the blossom's coming out. You can get double forming, which looks like a blancmange, or you can get single flowers, which are much more delicate, and they're the ones that will often go on to produce the actual cherries and be the best ones for pollinators. Cherry trees themselves have a really lovely form and a lovely shape, so when they are adorned with blossom, it really elevates them and it makes spring so magical. If you liked this video, then don't forget to click like and subscribe so you can get lots more tips from me and other familiar faces on the Gardener's World magazine YouTube channel.